So I'm going to do this video in two parts. The first part is here inside, and then I'll go outside where I give away 75% of my company on a little thought experiment. But the first part is that we are just so honored and humbled and thankful to all the people who have come in and who have started using Modality and have said, oh my goodness, this really is a great system. Of course, we thought it was. We spent over a year developing it, and we're just really, really excited to hear people come back and just say thank you for giving us this app, and we thank you for thanking us publicly and privately. I've been corresponding with people in emails, New York, England, everywhere else. I don't even know everywhere, Australia, everywhere else in the world. And so some YouTubers have come along and given us really great reviews, and I want to point out to them. Trisha's World is one. I'll put the links below. And she gave us a 2 thumbs up. And then Digital Adventures was very excited about us, had a few small critiques, which of course we'll be addressing in our next update. And so we're just really excited about that. Another gentleman, Neil Lasher. Neil Lasher has been in technological education for years and years and speaks and writes about it, and he found us and has really come out and gave us some suggestions as well, and has just been really excited about Modality. And so just a number of other people. One other YouTuber is Big Phil TV, who says he's going to give us a review this weekend. And we're looking for others as well, bloggers, YouTubers, and we're really excited about that. But then we're also just excited about just any person who has come along. And we've gotten a lot of good response. And the primary thing that people say is that, yeah, you have to get used to it. And once you get used to it, you get over it. And that's where we're talking about in my next section about creating a new category, which is basically what we're doing. People know typing, but they don't know typing like this. But here is my favorite review that has come to us, and we just can't believe somebody said this. It's really, really nice. Things seem all right with the other keyboards, but then when I switch back to Modality, I'm blown away anew with how much more sense it makes compared to the competition. As you're aware, the biggest obstacle to using Modality isn't even Modality's fault. Our years of getting so used to QWERTY that QWERTY seems like it's easier to use when really it's not. It's just more familiar. If they started out on an even footing, there wouldn't even be any question. So people need to get into a new mindset and a new way of doing things and enter a new category, and that's what I'm going to talk about in my next part of my video, where again I give away 75% of my company on a little thought journey. So I took a little thought journey, and this is while watching Shark Tank, kind of watching through all of the Shark Tanks now. We're on season 5. And in season 5, on an episode that aired March 14th, I believe 2014, there was a young man named Henry Miller. And he went on and presented his product, which was Henry's Humdingers. And what it was honey, but with spices added to it. So it was a spicy honey. And interestingly enough, Mark Cuban saw it and invited Robert Herjavec over to join him to purchase 75% of the company for $300,000. And the point was, Mark was like, hey, I'm not being greedy here. What I'm trying to do is help you get going, because what you've done is you've started a category that doesn't really exist. People know honey, but they don't know spicy honey. And so by taking 75% of your company, we're going to help you to establish a new category. And that was kind of cool. And Henry said yes, and I assume he's doing well. He must be 19 now, and I assume he's doing well. He's got a website up, and probably is a relatively, or maybe even rather, successful 19-year-old, which is great. Now, as I was thinking about that, I was thinking, okay, I think we're kind of in a similar boat to Henry and Henry's Humdingers, in that we're establishing a new category. People know typing. When Christopher Latham Scholes invented typing, or really refined typing, people didn't know typing, but they do now, clearly. but they don't know typing like this. And in many cases, they don't know why they would need to switch. So I just kind of took this thought journey and imagined myself going on to Shark Tank, which probably will never happen. I don't quite even think that they would accept me on Shark Tank if I applied. But I imagined being on with a similar circumstance and saying, hey, listen, to get Mark Cuban and Robert Herjavec together in on a deal would be really exciting for me, because those guys are great. I love them both. And and so what I imagined was going on Shark Tank and offering almost that right off the bat, just saying, hey, 75% of my company, 300K, and then I've got some plans for what we would do with the 300K, have a lot to do with development and just kind of promoting and getting it out there. But over the next 5 years, we've got a buyback option. Now, I've seen it before, by the way, where a company, there's this one company of these women, I think they were sisters or friends or something, and they ended up selling 100% of their company, and it was some sort of a party bow tie kind of a thing, stick on, as I remember. And they were like, okay, yeah, we can do that because we're done with this, and let somebody else take it over. So they gave away 100% of their company, but they didn't go in asking for that. There was another couple guys who did go in and asking for 100% of their company. So basically, they were trying to sell their company on Shark Tank, which is a little bit strange because I don't think that's what Shark Tank really is about. But they had like a beer or can cooler or something like that, is what I think it was, as I remember. But this guy went in for some percent, I don't remember what it was, and 150K, and ended up getting 300K from Mark and Robert, but also giving away 75% of his company. So what I would say is I'd like to go in and offer 75%, 300K, but with a buyback option. And the way that would work would be over the next 5 years, I could begin to buy back at X percentage per year and bring them down to 10%, 15% maybe. And what that is kind of like, hey, we're this little tiny circle, and now we send out these, wild dogs going, and they're just sell. And they're selling while we continue to develop, and they're just selling like crazy. And then we become bigger than the area that the dogs went out to. And then we say, oh yeah, thank you, dogs. We love you, love having you, but remember where your leash is. Your leash is to this point. And then we scale them back to 10%. Or we scale whoever would buy in, as the case may be, to 10%. And that's the actual offer that I would, at least in this, mental trip, that's the offer that I would want to extend on Shark Tank. And I've never seen anybody make an offer like that, where they offer a certain percentage, but then they want to buy it back. And it would be interesting. And I think some people would find it interesting, and especially Mark and Robert, because they're both involved in technology and they both know what's going on and they know what's up. And so that would be quite an amazing team. Now, just kind of thinking through that, how would that go over? Who knows? Obviously I think that my company is worth something. It hasn't shown its full value yet. We wanted to put Modality out, and all of a sudden we're looking at hundreds of thousands of downloads, and it's just obvious that it's not going to happen that way. It's going to happen from the grassroots level. And we're okay with that. We're happy about that because we've been able to interact with people who are early adopters and respond to them directly. And it's been a lot of fun being able to do that. Now, we'd like to scale it a little bit faster. And so that would be nice to get some of that kind of support. Now, just kind of imagining myself doing this, I thought, well, Kevin, Mr. Wonderful, he would never buy into it. He'd be, all the things he says. You're killing money. You should take that idea behind the barn and shoot it. This is a hobby. It's not a business, so on and so forth. And that's all I think that Kevin would see in it. Now, Lori could see her being interested, but she really is not technology oriented, it seems. She's more like the product and the idea, and I think she would appreciate the ingenuity, but I don't think that she would grasp as much on the technology side of it. Barbara, first of all, Barbara is gone, as far as I know from Shark Tank. So, but would she buy into it? Probably not. I think she's more into physical commodities, things that you can touch and see and feel, and I get that. Damon, I'd like to think he would be interested and could do things. I mean, he would have connections that could do things, absolutely. And maybe it would be a different kind of step from his standard portfolio. But I really could see Mark or Robert understanding what it's worth, what the value of the potential, and again saying, I wouldn't want to just give away my company, of course, because my company, and we're supposed to do things, and we're supposed to do more than just Modality. We want to stick with Modality and typing the next 5 years, and then we want to do other things as well. And I think it's possible that they would see that potential and help us to define that new category. And that's really what it is. It's a new category, and it's just going to take time for people to start to understand and see it. We think that they will, because what other options are there for all kinds of technology? Televisions, gaming systems, watches, remote controls, limited movement, all kinds of things that we need to get something else out there, and people have been realizing that. I've said before that we're not the only ones. I've mentioned Messages, I've mentioned Touch One. Just a couple days ago I came across one that I hadn't seen before. It's called Hero Keyboard, and I am super excited about Hero Keyboard. It is very much like one of the early versions that we were kind of going towards in Modality. And I said Modality went through 200 revisions, and we didn't leave this one behind because we thought it was bad or wouldn't work. We just left it behind because we went on to a slightly different direction to develop Modality, which is basically a group letters typing system. Well, Hero is a single letter typing system, but it's got literally about 6 of the ideas that I had at that time. It's got concentric circles, it's got more important letters towards the middle and bigger, it's got a space bar in the middle, it's got a word made out of the most important words, the word hero. And so it's got just a lot of what I actually had thought at one point Modality would be. And they pretty much did it right. And there are some things that I don't like about Hero, but I don't have to sit here and talk about that because it's a really cool keyboard, and I certainly recommend it. But just like in Christopher Latham Scholl's time, yeah, he invented the typewriter, quote unquote, but he really kind of consolidated in many ways the typewriter. He was not the only one who was making some sort of a personal device typesetting machine. He was one of many, and he really kind of brought it together along with some couple of investors and other people who came in and helped him develop it before he sold it to Remington, and then it started to take off. So that's really in many ways what we want to do with Modality. We want to be kind of taking all these ideas, putting them together, and opening the doorway. And it doesn't have to be in the same way that Scholl's did. That's not the point, but the point is that opening the door for all of us to be able to go through. And so, yeah, we're defining the category, and it would be great to get people behind us who can see that and who can push that along a little bit faster. In the meantime, we're so thankful for all the people who have given us reviews and who have supported it and got it and jumped on in. I've talked to people I talked to a guy from Queens, New York, talked to a guy from London, England, and just from all over the place. I don't even know where all these people are, and we're just just hearing back from people personally, one-on-one. So it's a really fun time, and we're so thankful for all the people who have jumped in and who have got it and who have started supporting us already. So thanks again, and more to come.